I'm Elisa Mortensen, and this is Undo Redo.
Hey there. How's 2025 going? It's a couple weeks in, and some of you have started on your goals. How is it going? Because statistically, everybody bails within the first couple weeks on their goals. But no matter when you're listening to this, I bet you have something that you've been telling yourself that you would do that you haven't yet, because we all do that. I want to talk about the great successful parents and leaders who can pull those that they lead up into new places that are higher and more involved and more cooperative by increasing their own capacities and their own strength greatly by doing their inner work, their own inner work. Work like this. Humans are the only species that can think about their future. And today we're going to talk about, why are you not sticking to what you said you would do? If we're the only species that can think about our future, and other animals pretty much just work with what is right in front of them. The problem is, as humans, we can almost effortlessly come up with things that are good ideas that we could start doing, should start doing. But that doesn't really require much of us to come up with a plan of what we should be doing. It takes something totally different to follow through with that and to finish something. So we're all going to start something, quote unquote, one day. And maybe we have a plan for it, but we don't have an exact day and time that we're starting. And we don't kind of map out or guess how long it may take. So although we come up with this great plan, we don't have any follow through because we're not making all the little details work in our minds. It's just kind of out there, a bit ambiguous, too ambiguous for us to really put a grasp on and do something with. So let's talk about giving ourselves a chance to get going. Because once we give ourselves a chance to get going, we kind of can gauge and see what it needs next. Let's just get the ball rolling. We spend lots of time starting things in our head, but we aren't getting them out of our minds and creating them in the world. We're not finishing them. So why can't we stick to what we say we're going to do? Some examples would be, we put off maintenance on a vehicle, or doing the laundry, and not eating well, or moving our physical body. It's costing us, it's consuming more time, resources, money, more mental power, and we have to keep going back and revisiting it and undoing some of the damage that was caused because we didn't. So we're addressing it again and again, and we're starting over instead of just moving forward. So what is really stopping us from sticking to it? Have you thought about this? A few common reasons. We say we will do it, and tell me if you can relate to these. And your mind doesn't really want to be strapped down to a schedule or a set of rules, just in case something comes up. You'd rather be spontaneous and flexible and do whatever you feel like in the moment. Maybe you're thinking it makes you more dynamic, and that's a good thing. But let's be real. What you feel like in the moment isn't always going to be the work. You're going to feel like doing the same thing. And as per my life coach and mentor, Brooke Castillo, it's doing one of 3 or 4 things. You get on your phone again, you shoot the breeze with someone because it seems productive, you sleep more, or you watch Netflix while you're eating and drinking things. It's not actually doing what moves us forward. What we're going to feel like doing in the moment is probably only those things. So if we only ever did what we felt like, we would only ever stay in that realm. And because none of those things move us forward, that keeps us hiding from our true life and from our purpose. Let's lay it out to you in this way. Think of what makes you happy, what you strive for. It's probably one of the things I already mentioned. Can't wait to just lay in bed, or can't wait for that moment that you do nothing, that you have no pressures and no worries, or that you could just, get back on your phone or go shopping, right? Or eat something. When's the next meal? I can't wait. Those things seem super important to us because we're holding them at the highest regard. We can't wait for them to happen. And so often they're so important to us and we can't wait because it feels like anything other than work. I would rather do anything than work. We have this dread about work. So we live for all the moments I do nothing. But why? Doing nothing isn't where real happiness is found, because a true measurable happiness happens in you accomplishing and doing the thing. And the feeling accomplished afterwards is much more rewarding than the hours we could sit and the food we can eat and the things that are just idle. So when we give ourselves a better more higher kind of relief and relaxation. It's a job well done and a project completed. So consider that. If you could really find relief from that looming burden that you've been putting off, it's waiting for you to do. When you rest, it's truly restful. It makes so much sense. All those little things waiting for you to do, and all that pressure that's pulling you out of that relaxation by it still just looming in your mind. When you finish and accomplish those, you get actual rest when you're resting. You don't have to revisit it. You don't have to hope you feel like doing it later or when you finally have time, because you've misused your window of opportunity when you could have got it done by doing these other things that we can't wait to do. So with these, human brains will likely never feel like doing it. The truth is that we're likely never going to feel like doing it. So what can be done about it, right? It's such a better life when we go do what we had in mind, instead of just starting in our heads and telling one day, we actually go do it and follow through. We make time for it. We show up. And it's such an easier way to live compared to the running around crazy, trying to catch up on the late, broken down, overdue things, masking the smells from unwashed clothes. But the bigger picture here is the trust issues that we create with ourselves by not showing up when we say we're going to, the disconnect that we create within our relationship with ourselves by not doing it. I'm going to give you an idea of what your mind looks like right now. It's the unorganized, unaware mind, and why you can't get yourself to stick to what you said. Picture going into a room that you have been shoving stuff in your whole life so far and ignoring it. And maybe you intend to clean it up one day. Maybe you're not aware of what's all in there. But just like any project, it'll get worse before it gets better. But after you shuffle some things around, the first few things, you begin to make sense of what's next. That is the best and only way that is going to get you unstuck, to actually start instead of just talking about starting. I'll share with you a method that I learned during certification, and I'll start to explain it by telling you that no one wants to be relaxing and doing all the stuff we can't wait to do, spending quality time with a loved one, watching a show, getting taken out to lunch out of the office during the day, and have your thoughts be, why didn't I get that done? I don't have time to do this. I should be working on that right now. I still haven't done it. Because you've misused your time and you couldn't get yourself to show up when you said you would. Do you want to know how you can put an end to this kind of pressure and mind chatter and talk and get yourself to show up? Here's the first thing you do. You're going to put it in your calendar where it makes sense, where it makes the most sense. And you're going to break it down into the smallest tasks possible from beginning to end. And you're going to start with a little thing and you're going to chip away at it. And then the next thing on your calendar is going to be in order from start to finish. And if you need to, put the finish and then work your way backwards, like reverse engineer it. So you don't feel the pressure of all the things. You're taking all the little essential steps. You could break it down so tiny that it'd be stupid not to do that baby step. Let's talk about brushing your teeth. Go in the bathroom, find the toothbrush. Like, you can't not do it if you make it so simple, it won't be as overwhelming. So when the time comes to you do it, whether you feel like it or not, because it's in your calendar, you do it. So you don't have to revisit it. And so you don't have to keep spending a lot of energy having exhausting conversations with yourself in your head about it and hoping you feel like it later. Because you're not going to feel like it later. You're going to feel like doing all the other things that you're doing now to avoid it. So just deciding to do it on the day and time you set for your calendar, that really solves most of it. Just, I said I would do it, and so I will. Then you can enjoy every bit of your downtime without a heavy burden on you and having to have that mind chatter pull you out of really, really some restful times, which would feel so great. You begin to trust yourself again when you do what you said you would. As soon as you start, you build that relationship with yourself, and it quiets that guilt trip and shame from all that. You're talking yourself out of doing it, and then you're beating yourself up for not doing it, and it just loops again and again. All of that quiets down, and the person you become just tackles the task on Thursday morning like you said you would, no matter what you're feeling. And all those random excuses that come into your head try to convince you not to, you just ignore them and go do it. The important part about this, the deeper than just getting a task done, is what I want to talk about next, and that's a relationship with yourself. I'll talk about it deeper in another podcast soon, but for now, I'm just going to say this little bit to get started thinking about it. Who in your life can you not really trust what they're saying? Think of someone real quick. You know something's going to just come up last minute. They're going to bail. They have a pattern of being unreliable. Even though they swear this time it's different. This is how you get with yourself. You won't show up and you won't do it. And you'll be getting out of doing it. So how do you not be that person in a relationship with yourself where you kind of know you're going to get out of doing it and you kind of know you're not going to show up and you keep lying to yourself? Let's just expose that right now, because if you really want to redo this, you commit to showing up, you slightly adjust the timeline if you have to, but once you get a start and you keep at it, you will undo that distrust. All the poor expectations you have of yourself and the loop you have going right now of not showing up will start to quiet down. All right, if you haven't had a consult with me yet, I highly recommend that you do, because we identify what isn't working and implement new things that are more powerful that you can access, and you create a new life for yourself and make a huge impact on those people you leave, the kids that you have, everyone that you're in charge of, by being the example of these kind of changes, by increasing your capacity and really being there for yourself. If you thought of anyone while you were listening to this, share it with them, because that's how the heavens reach us, is through each other. Be the one that heaven can count on. Follow that prompting to do so. I love you all, and we'll talk to you next time.